Back to Dreamhack, ladies and gentlemen. We find ourselves on game number 3 in this round 2 series. Polt versus JYP has been a lot of fun so far, but it's not over yet. I just want to say real quick before we get too much into this, Polt will be fighting MMA next, so you won't miss a darn thing if you stay on Base Trade TV. But I'm Rifkin, joined today by Zeph, and Spawny here in the upper right corner of the map, playing for CM Storm with that magnificent color red. It is Polt.
And on the opposite side of the map, it is the Blue Protoss from Evil Geniuses playing a very good game 1. Will he be able to close it out in game 3? It is JYP.
I really was so scared in game number 2 there for Polt. Like, it shaped up to be just a repetition of game 1, you know? But Polt, being the man he is, turned it around. But JYP saying, you know what? Forget it. We're going to go silly with this. Now, I don't think this will be 2-gate proxies. I mean, 2 gates can work versus Terran, but it's not the go-to. It's usually a 1-gate with a stalker proxy. And that's what I'm kind of feeling is going to be the case. Yeah, with the gas coming down especially, that's absolutely going to be the case. Now for Polt, this is that one rare situation where walling off at the front is good for him. And I want to talk about this because, guys, if you've never seen Polt before, you know he never puts his first supply depot at the front of the ramp. Not against Protoss. So he might not know this is coming, but I think he's playing to the fact that it's a Derelict Watcher, and chances are JYP does not want to go to the late game on this map specifically. So expecting a little bit of an early aggression, not going command center first, walling off the top of the ramp. Polt is so good at reading his opponent.
Yeah. An interesting choice, because I bet JYP was like, this guy CC first a lot. I wonder how I can abuse that. It's cool to see how both of them are kind of adjusting to each other's play. I mean, we saw that showcased in the last match with Polt.
Oh, no.
Finally being able to take apart that, but here comes the probe for a scout in the main as the cyber core joins the gateway.
The Zealot can do nothing useful. The Reaper is what's coming out first, and the Zealot can be kited around all day.
Oh, no.
Polt has no idea that this is the proxy just yet. This is that same annoying probe you've seen time in and time out. However, this time he'll actually deal with it. Gets to the base of his opponent, sees nothing down, and now knows, okay, a proxy's coming.
First blood.
Yeah, this could go quite pear-shaped for poor old Mr. JP. I mean, I wonder if Polt's a little thrown off by this, though, because remember in the first game on Akalon, he hid his first gateway in a corner and forced Polt to really scout around the base to be able to find it. So he was clued in on what was going on.
Well, now he knows for sure with the Stalker up, and oh no, the Reactor's coming down too. This one Reaper is all he's going to have to fight with for quite some time. Now, one Reaper can actually dance around with the Zealot, no problem. Can even somewhat trade with the Stalker, but he has to pull SCVs here. If he gets a surround on the Stalker, he straight up wins. If he doesn't, as we see, JYP is going to continue to be a bit of a nuisance. Even gets a surround up on the Zealot, but of course it's the Stalker that's the problem, not the Zealot.
Yeah, this is going to be real rough for Polt, chasing those SCVs to the best of his ability.
He actually kills the Zealot with the SCVs, so now the SCVs can actually be used a little bit more effectively, but again, that Reaper goes down, Marines are out, and the SCVs are doing what they can, but that bunker's not down, and even if it does finish, JYP can walk right past it. But that one Stalker goes down to one Marine, despite his kiting, is not quite enough. Of course, let's not forget, it's typically, yes, Stalkers out-kite Marines, you just kind of A-move, stop, it's not a problem. But with the SCVs on your heels like that, you have to control a little bit better, and JYP struggled, to say the least. Now with a bunker up and 3 Marines, it's unfortunately, it's so unfortunate, but he didn't dedicate too much, right? This wasn't, like, he had to cut some probes to make this happen, but as we see with the SCVs being picked off, 6 of them going down, he's kind of evened it up. Chrono Boost played a large factor in that, and now JYP's in a spot where he's not going to be comfortable by any means, but he's not out of the game. He's expanding behind this. He knows he's going to eventually lose this. We'll probably start rebuilding his infrastructure in his main, but not until he needs to.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse, of course. And now he's not really playing the game from a position that he wanted to. And Polt's going to be looking really good with that double command center producing units and whatnot. So it's going to be interesting to see how JYP actually moves out of this. He's going straight for the Twilight Council. See what that's going to be for.
It's got to be a blink all in.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it's kind of the obvious move from here. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see if it works out or not. Polt's going to be on his toes at this point. He knows more or less the position that JYP's in.
And this is unfortunate too. If JYP didn't have this Nexus going down, this would just simply be a game of if Polt holds, Polt wins. But, ooh, this SUV not even going to be allowed to escape to scout. We'll finally pick that off. Mothership Core Pokemon is looking for free hits. So what it wants to do is get the stalkers next, or not it, but what he wants to do is get the stalkers next to the wall and shoot up. Mothership Core, oh, he can't lose this though. Time Warp goes down out of desperation because it needs to get away. If you're going to go for Blink, well, hang on, it's not going to be Blink, it's going to be Dark Shrine. I was going to say, if you go for Blink, this Mothership Core is the most important part of your build. But a couple Dark Templar may... Okay, so, yes, there's Terran. Yes, they've got scans, but Polt might not be expecting this at all.
Yeah, I mean, having seen the Forge go down after the Twilight Council is kind of like, still Blink, and yeah, it is going to be the DT tech instead. So, I mean, we've got the NG Bay up for Polt now. So if he throws down a missile turret, he tends to be pretty conservative with that missile turret timing. He should be okay. SV not able to get the scout off.
But he's got another bunker coming. Polt, I don't think is smelling DTs in the slightest. He's expecting this to be like a big sentry bust, probably with stalkers and zealots, but not the case at all.
Well, he's going to have to scout to the best of his ability to figure out what exactly is going on. Having these stalkers constantly denying his scouts out the front of his base is so annoying. He might even want to drop a scan at some point.
Does he see this? I mean, you can see the shimmer, guys, but I don't think Polt was looking for it.
Your forces
straight into the main. Oh no, right on top of the SUV line. Even if he scans, the army is so far out of position.
Yeah, this could be exactly the kind of damage that JYP needs to get back into the position that he wants to be, and he's continuing to produce probes through this, so hopefully he can extend an economy lead. Let's see how much he can actually get done. The SCV is being pulled all over the place, already losing a fair bit of mining time, trying to minimize the damage. One DT gets picked off.
Now, he did get a moderate amount of SCVs at best there, but again, you force those scans. Suddenly, the Dark Templar alone has already paid for itself on top of the kills it gets. More power to him. And for JYP, let's not forget, somebody who's very comfortable playing Zealot Archon, he can now use the Dark Templars for Archons until the High Templar Archive, or sorry, until High Templar are available through the Templar Archives. But right now it's a lot of gateways because he knows he needs production. We didn't have the double forge, but investing in the armor like this, we're still going to see those Zealots be a nuisance. The Zealots don't need the damage so much as Stalkers and Colossus do. So their job's to get in there, tank the damage so the units from behind can deal it. And man, with the armor upgrades coming out so quickly, Polt, he's got no weapon upgrades on the way. He's got no armor upgrades on the way. These Marines are going to tickle the Zealots at best.
Yeah, wonky early game. It's going to be interesting when these guys finally engage, see how it goes. Because Polt, I mean, yes, the upgrades is a big factor, but I mean, it has been in the past too. And Polt, with his maneuverability, with his control, even his incessant drops like we saw in the last game, he can certainly make up for that in other ways. So it's going to come down to how he utilizes his army. And luckily, I mean, JYP having made that investment into the early game attack and those CTs, can't afford the double forge this time around.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked. I mean, Polt with he's been scouting all over the map this game too. I'm surprised he didn't run onto the proxies yet to knock down at least the pylon, if not the gateway. I mean, the Cybercore's not that big of a deal at this point, but more pylons coming down. JYP is definitely looking to get offensive again, but engagement will be taken here. Picks up to get on out, and again, that's the downside to not having Blink Stalkers. However, if you invest in Blink Stalkers, it's a tech path that will not pay off for you against someone who's playing the way Polt does.
Yeah, he's looking more towards that Templar charge lot composition that we've seen time and time again, then go for the Colossus transition later on. And if any time when he has those Colossus would be when he goes for that sort of Blink Stalker play, if he wants to transition into a more Colossus Stalker kind of composition. But
Polt, find these, please. There we go. Finally finds the proxies. So, okay. Getting the pylons is always nice. You want to pick off pylons at any opportunity. Killing the gateway, whatever, once it's depowered, not that big of a deal. Killing the Cybercore would otherwise in any other matchup be a big deal, but because JYP doesn't invest in anything like Stalkers or Sentries, he gets right on top of these Templar immediately. Talk about luck. Oh, Polt, man, he's going to pick up and get out. It gets 3 of those High Templar, and of course, they had a lot of energy on them. This actually stifles the push of JYP significantly. It won't stop it, but suddenly this goes from like a game-ending push to a I've just got a lot of Zealots, can you hold against me push.
Yeah, that was a really, really great pick-off, and now JYP heading out on the map. I mean, it's a shame that his proxies kind of got scouted because he utilizes the those warping points so well. Still not actually all that much out for Polt by looks. I mean, his force in comparison is so small.
Alright, well, SCVs are going to try and hold the line here. There's no sentry. Well, the sentries are there, but they're not using force fields. Instead, storms hold the SCVs. And that opens the hole. The floodgates open, and the Zealots charge right on in. Of course, with their +2 armor, they're not taking much damage. And JYP is looking really strong with this push. Here comes the Mothership Core. And that ramp is barely being held. Polt decides to retreat to the main, lifts up the orbital. But this is so much to hold off. He's got 5 racks worth of production. But again, no upgrades, guys. No upgrades.
Yeah, nothing really looking good for him at this moment. I think there's just maybe a little bit too much. Even so, if he recovers,
that's a big if. Look at these storms still going down. Not enough medevacs to cover for this. In fact, the medevacs are fully out of energy. No more stimming really available for Polt. Coming up at the top of the ramp, going to use the Sim City to his advantage, but even then the Zealots force through the choke, and the Marauders are backing up, but this might just be a little too much. The force field actually will help Polt in this regard, but not by much. It's 2 Marauders and a Marine. Good game! JYP will take the series 2-1.
wow.
That was really unfortunate for Polt. He just got really overwhelmed there at the end. Even with picking off those High Templar, I'm still surprised he couldn't hold that, but I do want to address something because I saw chat jumped on this. Guys, when I said luck, I just meant luck at actually hitting the part of the army where the Templar were completely exposed instead of walking into, say, like, the Zealots. I mean, Polt probably saw the army push out, but to actually time it so that you catch the tail end of the Templar, that's either the best metagaming in the universe or a little bit of luck. But, yeah, Polt versus MMA will be coming up next. Toot sweet, we don't have a lot of downtime because the next series is already scheduled to begin. So, we're gonna run some proper ads while they get veto sorted, guys. Polt versus MMA coming up on Base Rate TV next. And of course, you can type !schedule in chat to see the actual schedule of what games we'll be casting throughout the day, or !brackets if you want to see the binary beast brackets to see who's playing against who on the other series. So please stick with us, guys. We'll see you for some more Dreamhack in a bit. Don't go anywhere. Zeph and I will return shortly.